The main ideology behind our opponent's philosophy is pretty much that practice makes perfect. While practice does in fact help, for it to truly be useful, you must be practicing hard and retaining what you learn. There's factual evidence that while homework does help, too much can be counterproductive. In a study conducted by the psychology department at the University of Michigan, they tested to see if homework actually helped and if students having too much homework was possible. There was a control group that had kids doing zero homework. There was also a group who had kids doing between half an hour and an hour of homework, and the last group doing more than an hour of homework at a time. Coming in last were the kids that did no homework. That is of no surprise to any of us if you think about it logically. If you do not do anything, how could you be good at it? However, coming in second place were the kids that did over an hour of homework. While this result probably does not come as a surprise to you because of the side for which I am arguing, it sort of defies logic. That being my opponent's principle of practice makes perfect. Coming in first, as you could have guessed by the process of natural deduction, students who did between 30 and 60 minutes of homework had the best test scores. I'll explain this in words after attempting to explain it in a simile. If you were running a mile, you would go hard for that mile, and then you would be done. However, if you were to be running, say, 5 miles, you would go slow at first, so that you don't get tired, but then in turn you would get tired, and you wouldn't ever be able to go as hard as you would on that 1 mile. In essence, if you were to do a little bit of homework, then you would be ready and willing to do it. However, if you had the stereotypical and reasonably familiar night of hours upon hours of homework, you would just never go hard all the way through it, because it is difficult to start something when the finish line is not near. Besides just the study and terrible analogies that describe why there should be a limit on homework, there are other facts that show homework should not be the priority in an adolescent's life. Not that homework itself harms the child, but the time that it takes away from doing the more important activities is very harmful to a child's body and mind. A little fun fact: in a study of over 2,000 kids in New Jersey, conducted by a group that was taken to state legislation to reduce the amount of homework, suggests that the average amount of homework done by high school students is about 2.5 hours, with a fair amount of students doing well over 4 hours. This time spent doing homework could be used to do the physical activities that promote positive brain function according to psychologists speaking with USA Today. Physical activity, reading for fun, about 15 minutes a day, and eating dinner with your friends and family. Teenagers especially are deprived of play by homework, and this, along with easy eating and cramming food, has caused a large increase in childhood obesity. The amount of homework in the past 2 generations has doubled, and the size of the average child is not far behind that. This time is also necessary for the recommended 9 hours of sleep for a child to get. While I do recognize that it is likely that no teenager is going to get the 9 hours, we can get closer than the average 6 hours per night that students are getting today. This lack of sleep, along with the added stress of today's schooling environment, leads to added stress of teenagers. According to the New York Times, almost 3 times as many kids are now taking antidepressants and anxiety medications than in the generations prior. There is a direct link to the amount of work, and it is putting all of us at risk. According to the same article, there is a direct tie between the increase in homework and the increased suicide rate by teenagers. Something has to be done. Alan and I proposed the 10 times rule. This rule, introduced by psychologist and professor at Duke University, Harrison Cooper, that for each grade level you are in, when multiplying that number by 10 is the maximum amount of homework a child should get every night. Heretofore, a freshman gets 90 minutes, a sophomore gets 100, and so on. Teachers in each major subject, therefore, would only be able to get X amount of minutes per night of homework to give. This is the answer to a problem that also discredits all of my opponents, or some of my opponents' arguments about procrastination and anything said or inferred about Facebook or Twitter. Adults always tell us that these are the best times of our lives, yet it seems to be taken away by teachers making us do all this work. Let us be kids and let us have fun. Vote affirmative. Thank you.